Good morning, y'all. So I just have a couple minutes and I needed to move laundry. So we have just born the Clean Laundry series. All right. Part of the COINflip series coming soon, I suppose. Okay. So I had a mentor this morning remind me about the difference between a cook and a chef. And the main difference being that the chef understands the fundamental parts, and in short, a cook just goes through the routines and is really lost without a recipe. Not that we don't need cooks in the world too. And that same mentor asked us if we were being a cook or a chef in our life. And I thought and said to myself immediately, oh, I'm definitely a chef. And I am a chef, but I've been a chef for the people around me up to this point in my life. And what's shifted for me recently is I realized I didn't like the meals I was getting and then I needed to order something differently. And then I realized I needed to actually be focusing more on feeding myself better things instead of worrying so much about trying to make chef level meals for other people and not feeding myself. The phrase that prompted this, I did this out of order, but life happens that way sometimes. The phrase that prompted this in my head was never trust a skinny chef, which is funny because I'm getting pretty skinny these days, just from cleansing, not from trying to get thin. But the premise behind never trust a skinny chef is that you shouldn't trust people who don't eat their own food. And so as we're going through these really concentrated periods of time where we're getting a chance to look at our own patterns, a really simple but fundamental part of patterns that we haven't been really trained to look at so much in society is, who are you feeding? Are you feeding yourself? Are you feeding people who are going to feed you good things back whenever they can, even if it's not the same things, but good things back? Or are you feeding your good into people who are only going to pay you in toxicity and grief? Now, there's a purpose to that. It's a karmic cycle. And as long as we have energies that we chose to learn about, or that we choose to learn about, then those processes are a huge gift because they teach us what we don't want. But once we learn enough about what we don't want, then we don't need those karmic or toxic processes in our life so much. And then we may choose to help out people even when they're in those toxic processes sometimes, but we start focusing on not only putting the oxygen mask on ourselves first to survive, but feeding ourselves at that chef level to thrive.